समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Okay, last time we were discussing verse number 8, which says Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Now, what does it say? It says that for the protection of the good and for the destruction of the wicked and for the establishment of righteousness, I am born in every age. I told you that born is the word he uses, sambhava. Sambhav means I make myself possible. You know, I manifest, let us say, of my own will, according to my own will, I manifest. So that is what we had done. Okay, then Vinashaya cha dushkratam, to destroy the wickedness of the world, you know. And when you destroy the wickedness of the world, you see, you can say that there are three stages over here. One is there are good people. So Paritrana, sorry, just a minute. So Paritranaya sadhunam, that means the good for the protection of the good. Vinashaya cha dushkratam. Now in dushkratam there are two stages. There are one people who act instinctively. They are good people, but yet they fall a prey to bad intentions. Okay, and then there are the third category, which is totally animalistic. They just cannot, I mean, they are just wicked outright. Sometimes they are wicked without any motive also, they are wicked. Now, so the destruction of those and the reforming of the middle category, that is those who have a potential for becoming good. There are many people I know who say that after attending Gurudev satsangs, their life has changed so much. You know, now when your life changes, it means you were not that good before. Now you are much more noble than what you used to be before, isn't it? So that kind of a thing. So there are these three categories of reformation that take place. Now come to the next verse. It says, Janma karma cha me devyam evam yo vetti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. It says, he who thus knows in true light my divine birth and action, having abandoned the body, he is not born again, he comes to me, O Arjuna. Okay, now over here you see the Lord is himself saying that he who knows me, Veti knows, and Tattvataha, the essence, who knows my true being, who knows my true essence, or who knows very rightly why I take birth and why I perform action. That is Janma Karma. That means when he takes an avatar, when the Lord takes an avatar, then his divine form, his divine actions, his divine birth, do they know the exact nature of that divinity? Tatvatah. Tatvatah means the essence, the truth of his birth and death. Now, such a person, he says, tyaktva deham punarjanma. Now, Hinduism believes with because of the logic that it has given in many births. It does not believe in any one birth. We have discussed it before, and we will be discussing it further in other chapters also, that you cannot otherwise explain the where and how of people's lives. All the happenings in your life, all the things that come to you, why good to you and why bad to someone else? Why a tragedy in someone's house, whereas all good things in your house? There must be a reason. And following that reason, there has to be a past. This is a reaction to what happened in the previous past. Okay, so where is the previous past? The ego has had to have an embodiment where it had thoughts, where it performed certain actions, and this is the reaction to those. So, Punarjanma, he says that Punarjanm will not happen because he will be one with the essence, a man who truly understands, because he will understand who he is himself. Till now, we all think that we are the body, mind, and intellect. No matter how much the Gita tells us, no matter how much the teacher tells you that you are not the body, mind, and intellect, this is just an equipment, you know. And anything that the body, mind, and intellect does or performs is not on its own. There is a power generated that is performing or making it perform. I always give the example of a screwdriver, that when you screw it in a wall, say, or in wood, and if the screwdriver starts thinking that I have screwed that nail in, how right is he and how wrong is he? A screwdriver can never act on its own. Never act on its own. So one has to think that what is causing that action. So here, when he says Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma, that human being becomes one with the pure consciousness, becomes one with that supreme power. And therefore, he does not have another birth. He does not take on another body because there is no need in him to take on another body anymore. Now, this also, please see that, that he says Punarjanma. Janma can only cause death, isn't it? And death can again cause Janma. So these are two opposites. Anything that is born will die. Anything that is created will be destroyed. It has to be. It's a law. Can you think of anything in the world, anything at all, that ever was and ever will be? Even if a building is standing, maybe for centuries and centuries and centuries, what was there before that? Before the building came up? For that matter, even if it is still there, hasn't it undergone a change? It has. It has. So here, Punar Janma Neti Mamete Sarjana, he becomes changeless. Now, again, notice that when you are in deep sleep, when you are in absolutely deep sleep, you have totally lost identification with the body, mind, and intellect, isn't it? Now, at that time, who are you? Where are you? You are one with that supreme at that time. Now, when you are at that time and you have no consciousness or identification with the body, mind, and intellect, you have already aligned yourself with the tattva. Because at that time you have Nothing. You cannot at all. There are no instincts, there are no desires, there is no thought, there is no identification, nothing. So here he says, Tyaktva deham punarjanma. When he says Tyaktva deham punarjanma, huh? Now, what does it mean? It has got two meanings over here. Tyaktva deham punarjanma. See, one meaning is that when the body falls, then he gains moksha or he becomes one with the Lord. This is one meaning. Okay. So you say that, okay, one has to wait for the body to fall. Now, that is one meaning. The second meaning is that you must understand that you are not the body, mind, and intellect. Once you understand that you are not the body, mind, and intellect, you have become one with Tattva, Tattva, the Tattva. You have understood what you are. You have understood your oneness with the Supreme. So then also when there is no identification with the body, then you are not the body, just like in deep sleep. So, acha, then you say, okay, what about the realized master? The realized master, even after he realizes, his body is going on. That body is going on because of the past prarabdha. Everybody takes shape because of prarabdha. And it is, mind you, not only your prarabdha, it is the prarabdha of people around you also. Like if I am talking, the people who are listening, their prarabdha of listening is connected to my prarabdha of talking or my prarabdha of giving out the Gita. It is connected. You and I are connected. The moment your prarabdha of listening to me finishes, I drop dead. If I am a realized master. If I have my own prarabdha, then I'll continue. Huh? But a realized master, his prarabdha, the body is there for a cause. The body is there for a reason. Once that reason is over, the body falls. So that is why they are called Jivan Mukta, because they are carrying on because of our prarabdha. A realized master is carrying on because of our prarabdha, not because of his own. His own prarabdha is finished. And that way Gurudev used to say that the day that your prarabdha of listening to me is over, the Swami will drop dead right there. This is what he used to say. Hmm? So this tyaktva deham, when you say tyaktva means giving up. When you give up the body, he has used the word abandon the body. Hmm? So abandoning the body can be by a Jivan Mukta while he is alive. He is not even conscious of the body. If you have met realized masters, if you have been in the proximity of any realized master, you will understand this very well. They are not conscious of the body. Even the pain of the body, even the excruciating suffering of the body, they are not conscious if they align their minds with the Supreme. So this, when he says Tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti surjana. So he says that I will not take birth anymore. The person who identifies with me becomes me, and that person will never, never take birth again. Hum or I and you understand Krishna in parts. We don't understand his tattva. And that is the blind people. Supposing there are six blind people, you know that common story you must have heard. Six blind people are touching an elephant and trying to find out what the elephant looks like. Now, the one who's touching the tail, what is his experience? That the elephant is like a rope. Huh? Somebody who is touching his leg, he says the elephant is like a pillar. Somebody who touches his broadside, his body, is going to say what? That the elephant is like a wall. Elephant is a huge, tall, big wall. All three are wrong, isn't it? similarly, how we understand the Lord, or how we understand Krishna, or how Arjun understands Krishna, is not the correct Krishna. And he is saying that those who understand me truly, those who understand me correctly, those who understand me, my essence, they become me. And once you become the supreme, you are the supreme. You don't become, you realize that you are the supreme. So then, and that is why, you use words like this, a realized master. That means, what has he realized? He has realized his divinity. Okay, you use words like he discovered himself. Ramakrishna discovered himself. When you say discover, it means it was already there. He has only uncovered it and seen it. That is the meaning of discover. That means it was already there. So you and I are essentially divine, but we do not believe it. We don't believe it. We only believe in our mortality. Now, see also these two words, Janma and Mrityu. You get these two words in the Vedas, the early Vedas and the later Vedas. The early Vedas talk of deathlessness, and the later Vedas talk of birthlessness. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. That someone who is born has to die, and someone who dies will get born. But the thing is that this person is beyond these. Come to the next verse. वीतराग भय क्रोध मन्मया मामुपाश्रिताः बहवो ज्ञान तपसा पूता मद्भावमागता magataha. It says, freed from attachment, fear, and anger, absorbed in me, manmaya. You know this word manmaya he uses. Manmaya, having become one with me. हाँ? जैसे आप कहते हैं, you say jalmaya. Jalmaya means totally one with water. Jalmaya. Huh? Annamaya deha. You say Annamaya deha, that means this body is made up of food. It subsists because of food. And when it dies, it again becomes food. So you say Annamaya to the body. Hmm? You say Tanmaya. Huh? Tanmaya means totally with the body. Huh? And here he says Manmaya. That means when your mind and intellect has become totally me, mere mein. Huh? So he says Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, and this is the requirement for becoming Manmaya. Manmaya Mamu Pashritaha. Mamu Pashritaha means who is जिसको मेरा आश्रय है. आश्रय जानते हैं? Who depends on me. Who treats me like a harbor, who is under my protection. So manmaya mamupashritaha, who depends on only me, nobody else. Ananya bhakti. Bahavo jnana tapasa puta mad bhava magata. Now see, bahavo means many. He says many have attained my being. So it is not only one person that becomes realized or who attains the Lord. There are many, many, he says. Look at the word he is using. He is using the word bahuva. Here, see, bahavo. Bahavo jnana tapasa. So, along with jnana, tapt with jnana, he reaches, purified by the fire of knowledge. Jnana mein tap kar. जैसे हिंदी में आप कहें ज्ञान में तपते हुए, जैसे सोना तप के निखरता है, same way freed from attachment. Now look at this verse, he says freed from attachment. And उसके बाद वो कहते हैं fear, anger, attachment, fear and anger, because one causes the other two. We have done this before, but to repeat it, just to repeat it, that unless and until you are attached to something, you will have no fear and no stress, no anxiety, no anger. All these, that anger, stress, anxiety, fear, they all come because of attachment. They are the children of attachment. And as Gurudev says, that thank God, attachment is not of the body or of the eyes, it is of the mind. Gita is a study of the mind, the human mind, how it behaves, and how it can victimize you, and how it can also liberate you. The same mind can liberate you if you think correctly, if you practice what the Gita is saying. So, freed from attachment, the person who can know Krishna's tattva, who can know his essence, is a person, this is the precondition, that he should be freed of attachment, fear, and anger, and manmaya, absorbed in me, and mama ashrita, taking refuge in me. hmm. Refuge in the Lord is an attitudinal shift of the mind. Till you go on thinking that मैं कर सकता हूँ, I will do this, I will protect myself, I can save myself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. Till that, till that time, you are a weakling. Believe me, you can do nothing. Nothing is in your power to do. But here, this shift in the mind, जब आप उसका आश्रय ले लेते हैं, कहते हैं you are the only one for me. Nobody else from the world, no one from the world can support you. I read something very, very interesting. This is a statement by Rumi. And he says that science is taught by words. Okay? And from action, you gain experience. And detachment is learnt from companionship. Just imagine. Think about it very carefully. Very, very carefully. I thought about it for 2 days and how true it is. It says detachment is taught by companionship. That means all those whom you depend on and you think that they will help you in times of crisis, they are the ones who kick you. They are the ones who stand up and make you disappointment. Whether it is husband or wife or children or friends or contacts or whosoever. You say, I would have loved to help you. But unfortunately, on that day, I am out of town. I will not be able to do anything. I'm so sorry. Isn't that the answer familiar? Sounds familiar? Yes. So, what I'm trying to tell you, this statement by Rumi, that detachment is taught by companionship, seems like a paradox. It is, you know, pulling in two different directions. But the thing is that is what is true. That is very, very true. How many people have you depended on in this life who have let you down? And haven't you heard yourself saying, I never imagined that this person will do this to me. I never thought ever that this one will do this. I have done so much for this person, and this is how he behaved with me. Isn't that a familiar statement? Hmm? So here he is saying that those who take refuge only in me, that you are the only one for me. And believe me, I'm really talking from experience. The one that really helps or really comes to your rescue, how he comes, from where he comes, in what form he comes, is the Lord Himself. Is the Lord Himself. You pray to Him with a heart full of dependence on Him and see the result. Many times you don't even like what is happening, and then you say कि मैंने तो इतना भगवान से मांगा and this is what the Lord has given me. Believe me, later on you will say, this was for my good. Thank God He did that. He knew what is good for me, just like a good parent, really. Just like a true parent. He knows what is good for you, and He will do only that. You may be crying for something else, like children. A child one is crying to catch a flame. The parent knows that if he catches the flame, his hand will get burnt, right? So, in the parent is pulling him back. The child is crying, "No, I want it. No, I want to hold it. I want to catch it." And the parent is pulling him back. Why? Not giving it to him. The mother who loves the child so much is not letting him hold the flame. The Lord does the same, believe me. He really does the same if you have your ashraya in Him. If you have your ashraya in Him. And no matter what He does to you, accept it as a parent would do for your good. This is an attitude. It is not the action that is important. It is the attitude that is important. It is not the situation that is important. It is the attitude with which you relate to that situation. And that is what is important. You know, so here it is a mm, uh, see the entire path of self development, Gurudev writes, and the final goal is to be reached as indicated in this couplet. And this couplet is that give up attachment, only have faith in the Lord, put all your hopes at his feet, put all your desires at his feet, and become manmaya and mamupashrita. Mamupashritaha. Manmaya and mamupashrita, these two words really hold the secret, believe me. Don't argue on Vedanta, don't argue on technicalities and the grammar of Vedanta, don't argue on words and all, try to understand them. Okay, what is the intrinsic meaning of this particular word and all? Don't get into that. These two are the key. Manmaya, Mamupashrita. Become one with Him. He and you should have no difference. Accept all that He is giving to you. You know, like the Sufis, and the Sufis say that मुझसे बोलो या न बोलो, मेरी सुन या न सुन, मैं तो तोहे न छाड़ूंगी ए सांवरे. You know, and that is that I will not leave you. No matter what you do with me, I am there to stay. When that is your attitude, believe me, He also never leaves you. He never leaves you. That is true. Try it out. Just try it out. Hmm? Now, here, see, uh, here he says, देखिए, he says that is this verse very clearly tells you that is bhakti more important or is knowledge more important? This verse is talking about bhakti. You know, because this total surrender of the mind, body, and intellect at the feet of the Lord, that do with me whatever you will. I am at I am at your will. I am going to be like a hollow bansuri, huh? And let your breath flow through me. Whatever I speak, let it be your speech. Allow that. I am hollow from inside. I don't want anything. I am at your feet. It is only then that the Lord plays through you. You know, that thing from the Bible, empty thyself and I shall fill thee. This is a promise from the Lord in the Bible. Empty thyself and I shall fill thee. Even Buddhism says the same thing, that your begging bowl in front of the Lord has to be empty and has to be clean. Only then the Lord's grace can pour into that. So this being empty and clean is what is required by you. And how do you clean it? Free of fear, anger, and attachment. When you are free of anger and attachment, then you are empty. You are surrendering to Him. You are totally at Him. You have to say to Him, okay, don't ask Him for this, that, and the other. Because if he gives it to you, you may be very sorry. You do not even know what is good for you. Believe me, you do not even know what is good for you. So just surrender to him and say, "Oh Lord, just do for me what you think is right and what is good for me," just like a true parent in all good intentions does his best for the child, whether the child understands or not. When a parent disciplines the child sometimes cries, sometimes he doesn't like it at all, and he wonders how his parent is like this. Other parents are spoiling their children, and he comes home to tell you that so and so's father has done this for him, so and so's mother has done that for him. You don't allow this, you don't give me this, you don't do that, right? But a parent, when he is honest to himself, he will do for the child what he thinks is the best for the child. See, no mother, even when she slaps a child, she does it because she thinks it is good for him. Where there is love, violence is not. And mother's love is so much for her baby and for her child, that whatever she does, whether she does it softly or harshly or what, she does it out of love. It is almost unquestioned love because she sees the child as her own. So, won't the Lord, whom you say, "Oh, our Father in heaven," you calling him Father, right? Twamev mata cha pita twamev, you say in Sanskrit. Then don't you believe it? Or is it just words? And if you believe it, then also believe that, like a true parent, he will take care. He will look after you. Now, this bhakti translates into Gyan, and Gyan translates into bhakti. A Gyani, when he reaches the ultimate, he loves the Lord. He falls in love with the Lord. That is bhakti. And someone who is in love with the Lord already, he does his upasana, you know. So don't decry upasana. People who do arti and light agarbatti and every day pray to the Lord, sing hymns to the Lord and all, it is very, very useful. It is the same thing that will lead them to Gyan. They ultimately understand the reality of the Lord. And just as the Jnani falls in love with the Lord. So that is what it is. Okay, now the next verse. Let's come to the next verse. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tanstathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. Look what he says. He says, whatever way men approach me, please see, ye yatha. Ye yatha means in whichever way. So, in whichever way men approach me, even so do I reward them. Tanstathaiva bhajamyaham. Tanstathaiva bhajamyaham means I serve them in the same way. I do for them in the same way. I relate to them in the same way. So, if you think that he is your father, do you think that he can think otherwise? No. This supreme grand reality functions with, it's an ecology that functions. It is an ecosystem that functions. You love him, he will love you back. You know, you surrender to him, he protects you. That is what he's saying. This is a promise from the Lord in the Gita. Can you imagine? So how do you not believe it? You readily and easily believe a neighbor who tells you a gossip about somebody, that, oh, you know that one, this is what happened, do you know what happened to this one's daughter-in-law? And you readily believe it and pass on the information to 10 others, right? Mm. You do not believe in the Lord, when he says that ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyam. He says, I even so do I reward them in the same way I behave with them. My path do men tread in all ways, O son of Pratha. So he says people worship me in all kind of ways. You know Ravan, है ना? रावण ने कैसे वर्शिप किया था? Ravan worshipped, Bhasmasur worshipped, and Hiranyakashipu. Now, all these people worship the Lord to take boons which will destroy others. Imagine, huh? They took up boons which will destroy others. Hmm. So it is here a person who is evolving and a person who is almost reaching the Lord. He is himself Ananda and he is seeking only Ananda from the Lord. So the Lord gives him only Ananda. It is like a, see, this reality is like a supercomputer. Whatever you feed into it, you have to program a computer, right? So whatever you feed into the computer can only come out. If it has not been fed, it will not come out. And whatever has been fed, in the way it has been fed, will be the same way in which it will come out. You know, so remember that story of Midas, you know, the touch, that whatever I touch should become gold, right? And then he touches his own daughter, and the daughter becomes gold. So then he runs to the Lord because he asked for something what he wanted, not surrender to the Lord of asking him for what the Lord would like to give him, right? So this kind of this is an echo effect is you must always remember. So prayer only expands the mind. Prayer, bhakti expands the mind to get what to understand and be make it ready to receive what the Lord gives. Then you become free of attachment, and only then that you accept whatever it is, whichever way he guides you, whichever way he gives you, you know. So when he gives it to you, how you employ that power will depend on you. He will give you, but the use of that power that he gives you depends on you. Like Ravan misused it, Midas misused it, right? Bhasmasur misused that power. So, like that. Now, it is, see, we have given this example before. I am giving that example again to you of petrol in a car. The petrol in a car is the power which will allow you to move the car. But whether you take it rightfully to the destination or you use the petrol to take it rightfully to the destination, or you use the petrol to hit an accident, or you use the petrol to kill somebody, or even worse, kill yourself, that is your own doing. The Lord will give you petrol because you asked for power. The Lord will give you the power. He will give you the ability. The very fact that He has given you this body, this mind, and this intellect is a reason that He has given you the equipment to use correctly. But if we do not use it correctly, we do not use it the way it should be used for the benefit of the world and the benefit of yourself, what are we doing with it? So he is saying that I will give to you whatever you ask. So whatever you ask with a very, very pure mind, with bhakti, with tapas and all, he grants it to you. So be careful what you ask. Be very intelligent about what you ask. And the best is, I would suggest, don't ask. Because he, in his super intelligence, knows what is good for you. We do not even know what is good for you. Gurudev used to say, at least understand from whom you are asking. You are asking the Lord of the universe. And what are you asking? Oh Lord, give me one brinjal. I want to cook curry with potatoes. So he gives you that one brinjal. He used to think that I will give him a diamond. But you are asking for a small vegetable. He says, okay, take it. And then that vegetable also you misuse. So think about it. Only that do not desire all kind of things. Accept the Lord in His goodness. Pray to Him, surrender to Him, and look out for His grace. And He is an unmanifest force, and the same unmanifest force is in you. He gives you that force, He gives you that power to do good in the world. So do that. And that is why He says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham. And therefore, we have it in the religions of the world. Some people consider him as the Lord. Some people consider him as a super king. Some people consider him as a father, a mother, a brother, a small child, a lover, a beloved, anything at all. So, whatever way you worship the Lord, He will behave with you in the same way. There is a system of ecology in the world, the system of cause and effect in the world, and you are in this cause and effect. So create the right cause for the right effect to come. So this much for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay. So, he is also trying to make Arjuna understand that I am not that same young shepherd boy that you used to play with. By saying all this, he is also telling Arjuna that understand who I am. You have to treat me as a teacher, which I am over here. I am not your companion. I am not just the one who used to play with you, crack all kinds of funny jokes with you, tease you. But I am not that. So recognize me as your teacher. Recognize me as the one who is liberating you, who is giving you a knowledge that will make you evolve and make you do your duty as a dharma sansthapanartha. You have to establish dharma for which I am helping you. So this much for today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.